Yo, what's good with y'all boys? It's very Sneaker Bar Jordan, aka Vixen, back with yet another video, man. Today, I'm gonna be telling you guys 5 things I wish I knew before getting into sneaker botting. So I'm sure there's tons of videos out there telling you how to get into sneaker botting and what you need to buy, but a lot of them don't actually tell you the lessons that they learned from when they started sneaker botting. Really, anyone can be good at sneaker botting, but it comes with a lot of trial and error. A lot of the top people that you see hitting hundreds of pairs on a release, they were failing at some point. At some point, they were on the same level as you. But right now, you're only seeing the success of everything and not the many times that they failed beforehand. Just to give you guys an example on one of the lessons that I learned is I started botting in late 2015 and my first bot was heated sneaks. If you know anything about heated sneaks, this is one of the biggest jokes of a bot in the community. It was this weak Chrome extension that they advertised. They had Foot Locker, Kith, Supreme, literally any site you can name it. In reality, it was just an autofill, and a lot of the people that got into sneaker botting early really regretted buying this. So I'm going to share with y'all some of the things that I learned over the 6 years of me sneaker botting. Hopefully this information puts you ahead of a lot of the new sneaker botters getting into the game, and hopefully you can learn from my mistakes. So without further ado, let's get into the first lesson. So the first topic is you're going to need more than just a bot. It is a huge misconception that sneaker botters just buy bots, we click start, and we get hundreds of pairs. But if you see in any of my live cops, you know that this isn't the case. What most people don't know is there's tons of operational costs that go on behind the scenes. These could be things such as proxies, servers, cook groups, Gmail farmers, literally anything you can name. So for sure, one thing that you're going to need is proxies. Proxies are the second most important thing behind your bot. Proxies are basically just IP addresses, so when you're sending requests to a site like Foot Locker, it makes it look like you're different people trying to get into the site. There's tons of different proxy companies out there, so you definitely want to try mixing and matching a bunch of them until you find your perfect setup. So I'm going to throw some screenshots up on the screen and you can look at all the providers that I've used in the past. As you notice, some of these plans are exactly the same, but their prices are different. Don't be intimidated by some of these prices, because most of the time, a lot of these providers are actually using the same IPs, but they're charging different prices. One word of advice I can give you about proxies is don't always go with the cheaper option just because it's cheap, and don't always go with the expensive option just because it's expensive. I've used tons of providers that have expensive proxies and they're just completely garbage. Like, I don't ever cop anything on them. And on the other hand, I've used some cheap proxies that have done amazing. So just mix and match them and just find out what is best for you. Another thing that you might need is a server. A server is basically just a virtual machine where you can put your bots on and you can get faster speeds and you can get better specs. For the most part, most botters don't use servers. Most of them have fast speeds or a computer that can handle tasks, so there's no point in actually adding on that extra cost per month just because. There's tons of different servers you could check out. I'm gonna throw some on the screen if you want to look at them, and if you're interested, you can go pick one up. But like I said, you don't actually need a server if everything is good on your end. Another thing that I mentioned was a Gmail farmer. If you're gonna be someone that's gonna be botting easy supply, you should definitely look into this. If you don't know, every Google account has a score, and this is called a V3 score. If you ever tried to go for easy supply and you can't make it past the queue, most likely it's because your score is too low. The higher your score is, the more human you look. So what a Gmail farmer does is it generates activity on your Google account by looking up news articles, watching videos, just so you can look more human. It's actually a big reason why some of these people could hit hundreds of pairs on Easy Supply is because they have good Gmail accounts. I'm also going to be throwing up some screenshots of some tools that you could be using for that. Personally, my favorite one is Kodai Essentials. That's the one that I've been using for a little while, and I actually have a video on it of me describing my exact setup and what it could do to your Gmails. So like I said, a lot of people didn't know this, including myself when I first started botting. So just try to do your research and figure out what is best for you. The next lesson is don't be cheap when you buy a bot. I cannot stress this enough. Please invest into a good bot if you have the capital. At first you might be thinking this is a bad decision, but it's better to have a consistent bot than a cheap trash bot. Don't get it confused. I'm not saying buy the most expensive bot, and also the price of bots don't actually dictate how they do. For the most part, resale value definitely has a play into why some of these bots are so high up in their pricing, but I've seen people have the top tier bots such as Wrath and Cyber and they don't hit any pairs at all. And on the other hand, I've seen people use Phantom, Toru, Project Destroyer and get more pairs than the people with Cyber. I spent so much money actually trying to be cheap that it killed me in the long run. Let's say you're one of the people that don't have a lot of capital and you can't spend thousands of dollars on a bot, but you really want to use Cyber or Wrath or Kodai. You can actually rent some of these bots out for a specific amount of time for a set fee, and I'm going to show you guys how you can do that. So we're over here in Botmart, and this is where you can actually buy, sell, and trade your bots. So let's take a page out of our old example. Let's say we wanted to rent out Cyber for February. So we're going to go over here to the side menu and we're going to scroll down, until we see cyber right here, and we see right here where it says cyber sell. This is for the people that are trying to sell their copy of cyber to you, and you see it is very expensive, $6,300. And if you're like me, you don't have that type of money. So what we can do is we can go to cyber rental sell, and we scroll down to the bottom, and we see someone right here willing to rent out their copy of cyber to you for $300 for February. This still seems like a steep price, but if you know cyber, it absolutely cooks, and if you have enough capital to make that money back, that'd be easy profit. Even if you don't like that 300 price tag, you can scroll through and you can find some other offers. Sometimes people will actually lowball and maybe give it for $250. Like this person's doing $280. You can probably get it for around $250. Just be careful when you're renting out these bots. You always want to use a Botmart middleman. Middlemen are actually staff within Botmart that actually work for them. So let's say I own cyber and you're trying to rent it out. All we would do is we would go up here and then we would open a ticket, and then we could deal from there. The middleman is going to take my bot, make sure that the key works, and then once he verifies that everything is perfect, everything's good, you send me the money, and then the transaction is done. So there's no scamming going on as long as there's a middleman. Let's say you couldn't find the right price that you want in Botmart. You could also go into Title Marketplace. It's basically the exact same concept, and they have middlemen as well. So don't be discouraged by the prices. Like I said, there's always the rental option. There's some cheaper options out there. If you don't want to spend $300 on cyber, you can get Soul for maybe $150 or something along those lines. But just make a plan, make sure you're smart with your money, and execute it. So for the next lesson is know what sites you actually want to bot. This is very important because there are all-in-one bots such as Cyber, Balco, Kodai, and Toru, but not all of them support the exact same sites. Most AIOs do support a lot of sites such as Foot sites, maybe Yeezy Supply, Shopify, Supreme, but like I said, not all of them do support these. So let's say for example, you want to bot Foot sites, you want Supreme, and you want Yeezy Supply. Automatically, you cannot get cyber because cyber does not have Yeezy Supply at the time of this video. And then you'll have to do some research into one of the other bots such as Toru, which does support all of those sites that I just listed off. The one thing about all-in-one bots is they may support all of these sites, but they're not the best at all of these sites. For example, let's take Balco, which is one of the best, if not the best, Shopify bot on the market. But while the Shopify module is one of the best on the market, their Foot sites bot isn't as great as some of the other top tier bots like Wrath or Cyber or a Toru. But let's say you have the capital and you want to buy two separate sites. You could buy Balco for Shopify, and you could buy Toru for Supreme and Foot sites, and you'll be perfectly fine. So just make sure you're doing your research and you figure out what you need. So one of the biggest lessons that I learned very recently is get a cook group. When I first started, I thought cook groups were absolutely useless. I was getting all my information from Soul links and Twitter accounts, and I thought to myself, why would I be paying someone $50 a month when I could have all these free resources and they can give me the same exact information? But what I didn't know is they don't just give you information about what's dropping, but they also give you exclusive information such as early links, they give you restock monitors, group buys, giveaways, all of this stuff that makes it worth the money. A cook group has opened up so many avenues for me. One thing I did learn is time is money. All the things I tried to learn in the 6 years of me botting, I could easily learn that in minutes in a good cook group. Also, one thing is the people in cook groups actually want to see you succeed and want their entire group to cook. The more they help you out, the more you can help someone else out, and you guys can all eat together. For example, the first year that I joined a cook group was actually with the House of Cards. That was my very first cook group, and I won it on a giveaway. So since I won it in a giveaway, I didn't have to pay their membership fee, and I was like, okay, I'll just give it a try. So while I was in the cook group, one of the drops that actually happened was the blue Off-White Air Force Ones. So in the group, the day of the drop, they let me know that there's a shock drop gonna happen in Chicago, and you need to be in Chicago for you to actually be able to cop. I live nowhere near Chicago, but they actually gave me tips saying that I could spoof my location to Chicago and I could get a pair. So at the time of the drop, I spoofed my location and I actually ended up getting a pair, and I sold this pair for $2,200. This is actually one of my biggest cops of all time, and I was very excited when that happened. But later on that day, Off-White actually dropped on their site again at 3 in the morning when most people were asleep and didn't know about the drop, and I ended up getting another pair. So in total, I made over $4,000. Even if you're a little skeptical like me about cook groups, you should definitely just try it out for 1 month. Speaking of cook groups, let's hear a word from my cook group and sponsor of this video, the Chef's Table. Are you tired of missing out on PlayStation 5s and Xboxes? Are you tired of constantly missing out on sneakers? Are you tired of being just an average reseller? Are you tired of being washed? Well, look no further, the Chef Table has you covered. With all the amazing things the Chef Table has to offer, such as group buys, blazing fast monitors, 24/7 support, early links, guides, and so much more. For only $40 a month, you could be a part of the Chef's Table and make all your dreams come true.
The chef's table is not responsible for you being washed. The chef's table does not guarantee any success. Vixen is not responsible for any interactions that you have with the chef's table. $12.99 shipping and handling.
Wow, thanks, Chef's Table. So the last lesson of the day is do not be afraid to lose money. Now, I'm not saying go on Foot Locker and just start buying a bunch of random items and hoping that you're going to make money off of it. Sneaker buying is very, very fast paced. There may be tons of shoes dropping. You may be caught off guard by a shock drop, but just take your chances and actually buy these shoes. I know a lot of these shoes aren't going to be Off-White MCA or Jordan 1 Travis Scott, but if you ever heard the motto, scared money don't make money, that is absolutely true. The reality is some shoes you're going to make $30 off, some shoes you're going to make $20 off, but at least that's $30 more that you had in your pocket the day before. Even if you're not buying shoes and you want to apply that to bots and proxies, sometimes you need to just take a chance on some of these providers because they end up blowing up. This actually happened to me a few times. I ended up buying Toru at $200 right before they blew up. The sneaker buying community is very, very unpredictable. Also, if you did end up copying a brick or something that just wasn't a lot of profit, at least you got the experience that you can use for the next drop. Even now that I'm 6 years into botting, I still try to buy every single drop just because everything is changing so quickly and I don't want to be caught off guard for the next one. So that's pretty much it for today's video. I hope you guys learned something. I hope you're able to apply this to your sneaker botting career, whether you're a rookie or you've been doing this for a little while. Listen, if you have any more questions or you want to know anything about my sneaker botting career, feel free to hit me up on Twitter or you can hit me on my Discord. I appreciate you guys for sticking around to the end. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.